Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's Kennedy. I'm an inspiring day trader slash chemistry grad, and I know it's been a while since I posted on this YouTube channel. I've been off of the rails and I just really needed to lock in. If you were one of those 5 subscribers that I had currently and you're like, where did she go? I did not give up. I just needed to lock in. So today we're going to be talking about how I managed to get my first payout from TOPSTEP using supply and demand and support and resistance. I'm going to try to make this as straightforward, beginner friendly as possible. We're going to talk about how long it took me to get here. We're going to talk about everything. It's not a big payout. We're also going to talk about how I plan on spending that payout, what the future looks like for me, and so on and so forth. So, we're just going to hop straight into it. And yeah, so I'm going to show you guys the payout. It was not a lot, but hey, it's a payout. So right here you can see I requested a $500 payout. So super exciting. I actually got this in my bank account. I was like, whoa. No, but I ended up so as for the money that I used this payout for, I put this money into my live account. So I do have some money in a live account. I'm trying to grow that live account to 20K. And that's basically my goal for any funded accounts, any payouts that I get. But this is my first official payout since I've locked in the last 3 months that you guys saw me. So yeah, I'm gonna show you guys the account while we're up here. So these are my trades for the month. I do only trade 3 MES, and I only trade ES. I do not dabble with M&Q or anything like that. Those are way too volatile for my likings. So I stick to MES, and I keep it there. Okay, so I don't touch any of that other things. I just stick to MES. That's what works for me, and I do not risk more than $100. So I'll do 2 MES contracts on the 10-point stop to a 15-point TP, and that's usually me risking $100 to possibly make 150 or so. That's what I usually do. But now let's talk about how long it took me to get here. So my trading journey started back in 2020, and when I tell people I started trading in 2020, they usually look at me like, dang, you must be a pro. No, I was like on the freaking Reddit side of trading. So I would just, people be like, we're gonna buy GMC tomorrow, or we're gonna buy AMC, GameStop, GME tomorrow. And I'd be like, word, and I'd go in and I would buy it. And actually, my first year of day trading, I think I ended that year, I think I was positive. Like, I was actually positive. So that's hilarious when I think back. So 2020 was my beginning. That's when I started to learn. But y'all, I traded the line chart. So if you guys know anything about trading, obviously there's candlesticks, there's Heikin-Ashi, there's different type of ways that you can view charts. I was using the line chart for years. I think I used that for like 2-3 years. So I think between the span of 2020 and 2021, I started to dabble into like options. I got into options, and that was where I like tried to like hit the lottery. I was thinking like that was my way out. Options is gonna be my way out. Ooh. So options, I think I had my very like first year of like being negative and having to, I want to say 2021 I was positive as well, so I had to pay taxes 2021, but 2022 I was negative, and that was because of options. So if you know about options and like the data decay and all the stuff that the Greeks, then like options is not very beginner friendly. So you really need to go into options kind of paper trading before you actually put your money into options, because it's so risky. And especially because I was using Robinhood, and on Robinhood for intraday day trading on options, I don't think you can set like a stop loss and a TP, not until like you hold it for a few hours or something like that. It's weird. But so I ended up losing there. But so we lost there, but I didn't give up. I was still determined. I was still at this point trading the line chart. I actually did not start actually learning about candlesticks. I have this on my wall because I used to only not only trade candlestick patterns, but I used to use candlestick patterns as another confluence to enter and exit trades. I don't really use them anymore. Like, they're nice, but candlestick patterns happen so much that it's like, when is it actually going to be a follow through with that candlestick pattern? So I just don't really use them anymore. Just through with my market experience now, I don't really rely on taking these as confluence. I have other confluences that would be more higher probability than these. So, but yeah, so I didn't start reading candlestick patterns until 2024. So last year, I think towards the end of the year, I decided to it took me 4 years. It took me 4 years to move away. It took me 4 years to move away from the line chart. Okay, we're not going to talk about that, but yeah, so 4 years to move away from the line chart and finally actually have a good entry, good exits, and actually be a part of the movements. So I finally started learning about the candlesticks and everything that you need to know. I actually read the fundamental analysis of something. It was a book, I think by John Murphy. It was a big book, really long book. I read that book from front to back. I read that book. I would take my time at work and I would just read it. And that's how I got familiar with all of like chart patterns, and it had a lot of things in there. And that's where I started to pick up like my edge in a way. So I know there's ICT, I know there's so many strategies out there, but I found myself gravitating towards supply and demand, support and resistance. That's just what I like. That's just what I like, and it resonates with me. So yeah, that's how I got here. That's my long story, and we're still going. So what are my my goals for the payouts or my funded accounts? I don't really have any specific goals. I just kind of want to prove consistency over a large sample period. I know a lot of people say I want to make 10K, I want to make 5K, I want to make 20K. I'm more of like the person, like I just want to prove that I can be consistent with it. So in the future I can, actually make this a business, or like actually make this a passive income or a real income. But my overall goal is not a monetary aspect right now. My long-term goal is just completely just consistency. So if you look at my P&L, I think that kind of shows like I choose consistency over home runs. Like you don't see many days where I'm just plus 1,000 or plus 2,000, because that's not what I really go for. I want consistency, and I think consistency is what gets you there. Just like in the gym, like more reps will get you to where you want to be. So that's how I am. I believe that more like the more you prove your consistency, the more that you can, you can achieve what you want to achieve. And a lot of people do in trading chase the money aspect, because, when you talk about day trading, that's the first thing that comes to mind is money, money, money. But I think that's kind of where it starts to fuck up your psychology when you keep on relying on that money aspect, and you need to rely on discipline and better things to focus on. But anyways, now we're going to talk about supply and demand, support and resistance, how I trade them, blase. So let's go back to the screen. So if you don't know what supply and demand is, because you may be a beginner, I'm just going to give you guys a brief summary of what a supply zone and a demand zone is. So a supply zone is usually an area on the chart where sellers are usually sitting, lingering. This is indicated by like a green candle before a imbalancing move to the downside. So something like this. This right here would be a supply zone, because we have this large imbalancing move, and an imbalancing move is just anything that's just, it's not normal. Like, why is that big fat candle on the screen? So that's an imbalancing move, and that is what would be considered, this candle before that imbalance would be a supply zone, because we had enough sellers in that area on the chart and able to cause that imbalancing move. So that's what a supply zone would be. Now, if we go and we flip it to a demand zone, it would be the absolute same thing. Not the same thing. I'm sorry, guys. It'd be the absolute opposite of a supply zone. So a demand zone would be that red candle before a large green imbalancing move to the upside. So on this chart, obviously we have a demand zone down here because we have this imbalancing move, and this is an imbalancing move. So we have an imbalance, and then we're kind of balancing again, imbalance. You see what I'm saying? So this imbalancing moved. Before that, we had this red candle, which indicates that we had enough buyers here to cause this imbalance in the market. And what supply and demand traders are doing, we're trying to capitalize on when we come back there. We're trying to capitalize on, there's probably still some sellers, there's probably still some buyers there. And we want to be able to kind of jump in that trade and kind of have a reaction. We're thinking like once price gets here, there's going to be a strong enough reaction for us to capitalize on it. And that's basically what supply and demand is. It's just about trying to capitalize on those moves that happen in the market. So that's basically the simple way to put it. As for support and resistance, it is kind of similar to supply and demand. There's a lot of times where you have a supply zone or demand zone, and it can flip and it can act as a support and resistance, and you can trade it that way. I love to trade it that way. So they kind of go hand in hand. So I think if you do trade supply and demand, it is nice to have support and resistance in the back of your head, because they kind of go hand in hand. They're like Bonnie and Clyde, like they go hand in hand. So support and resistance, on the other hand, is kind of the same concept, an area on the chart where we had enough buyers or sellers to kind of make price wick around or reject from an area or bounce from an area. So on this chart here, you can see I marked this area here. This would be considered resistance. So just like a supply zone, a resistance would be at the top and a support would be at the bottom. Think of something like this chair is supporting my butt and it's on the bottom of my butt. So that's a support. As a resistance, it would, so it's at the top in my head. So a resistance is at the top and a support is at the bottom. Something supporting is at the bottom. So that's how I like to look at it. Now, so today actually I took a trade and it was based off of this that I wrote on my chart. So I always like to start my day empty chart. I want to go in there with the empty chart because there's too much noise if you go in there with too much stuff on your chart. Empty chart. And I like to kind of put my game plan on my chart. I do not like to go into the market without having a game plan, because I've realized over my years of trading that if I don't have a game plan, my brain kind of runs rapid and I just kind of start running on autopilot and just clicking buttons. So I don't do that anymore. I will always have like a game plan, even if it's something written on my chart. If I write it in my notes, I have something that I'm looking for in the market. And if I don't get that, then it's just no trade day for me. So on this day, I had a support here. A resistance. I had a resistance here, and I think I took it from the daily. Yes. So I took this from the daily. So see how price reacts here, daily area. And why did I take this? You may be wondering. And it's because this was the previous support over here. So this is what happened. So we were supporting here on the daily. We rejected out. We came back and we started to have it as a resistance. And I wanted to see how price reacts here. If price could possibly support here again is what I was looking for. Or maybe price could reject here again. But I was more on the side of can price support here again, because the chances of it coming down here was not very likely for me, at least not in my game plan. So that's what I was looking for in the day. So I ended up taking this move on the chart. So when price came up, so price broke out. So right here, so this was market open. Price ended up breaking out, market open. So when price broke out and we kind of came back down in this area, I wanted to wait to see what price did. Will price wick around in this area? Will price completely just slice through this area? What is it going to do? So once we got a wick around in this area, guess what I did? I took my long entry here, anticipating that this old support, this old resistance would turn into support. So this is not a supply or demand zone play. Instead, it is a support and resistance play. So I took my long around, I think it was like around, I think my entry was like 51 or something. It was around here, down here somewhere. I took my long entry and I booked. I took the W. Not for, I think it was like plus 10 points, which is great. So I caught that move, and that's just based off of a support and resistance. So that's why I say it's always nice to have support and resistance in your back tire or in your back of your brain, because I mean it's just nice to have that in your repertoire of confluences. And I know when I was starting out, a lot of like I would try to have more confluences for trades, but I think if you trade support and resistance with supply and demand, that is all the confluence you need. So yeah, this zone here is also a demand zone right here. So this is a demand zone, but obviously we didn't test that zone. So if the price would have came completely down here, it did. Obviously it wicked, but if it would have came like completely down here, you could have also took a long here. So either way that you view the chart, it could still work out. So that's how I trade those moves. And yeah, it becomes easier for me to kind of eliminate the noise when I'm trading if I have the 15-minute paired with the 4-hour. That's just my way of trading. If I trade the 1 minute, my brain again is on autopilot and I'll start clicking buttons. But if I trade the 15, sometimes if I'm feeling like spazzy, I'll do the 30-minute. What is this? What is this chop? So I'll do the 30-minute and I'll pair it with the 4-hour. But I love to have the 4-hour here. Sometimes I'll go through and look through the hourly, but for the most part, I'm 15-minute and 4-hour girly. And that's my little secret. Not my secret, but like that's my little sauce. So that's basically how I've been trading support and resistance with supply and demand. I don't really have anything marked for supply and demand zone. So me personally, I think I just gotten to the level where like I can spot a supply zone or demand zone and I just kind of note it. I don't really mark it. I like to just mark the support and resistances, but I can start marking those for when I do trade recaps on this YouTube channel, because I will be more consistent. Mark my words, it's coming. So yeah, that is everything. So hopefully you guys can stick through and watch me throughout my trading journey, because it's gonna be a long journey. It's gonna be a good journey, and we could be in it together. You know, I'm still learning too, but we could really we could really be on a yacht this time in 5 years if we really just lock in right now, like in this moment, like right now. Get a notepad, get a book, get everything. Lock in right now, because if not now, when? So yeah, that's everything. Yeah, I'm just grateful to be here. And so yeah, if you guys watched this far, I do appreciate it. I greatly appreciate it. Let me switch my camera. So yeah, if you guys made it this far, I really do appreciate it. I would not be here without the grace of God, and literally that's it. I mean, so yeah, obviously I have a long trading journey ahead of me, and there's so much more to come, and this is just the first of what's to come. I know it, but just gonna stick to what I know, continue showing up, and continue having my risk management, continue having my good psychology, continue everything, because I'm not chasing a home run, guys. I'm telling you, I'm not doing that. You're not going to see that on my P&Ls. You're not going to see that on my calendars. You're going to see consistency. So if I don't make another video for 3 months, it's because I'm consistent. No, but seriously, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully I could help you guys if you guys were thinking about doing supply and demand. I do have another video like going in depth of how I mark my supply and demand zones on my channel, my support and resistances on my channel for a while ago. I might film an updated one, but if you guys were wondering, that's on my channel. You can check that one out. This one was just a brief one, but yeah, thank you guys so much for being here and watching. Bye. God bless.